5 things we love about Cabana Bay Resort.
And maybe a couple things we don't.
We got to add in some things we don't just so that we can keep things on a fair playing field.
So Cabana Bay Resort, located in Universal Orlando Resort, a value resort as it's considered, but the amenities, the rooms, the pools, I felt like it was more of a moderate resort compared to Disney's.
Universal says this is retro fun for everyone. Enjoy the vibrant retro style rooms and suites brilliantly designed for fun and affordability.
I completely agree. Like I said, Universal nails these descriptions.
Relax with a splash. The architecture is 1950 and 1960s, which I think really their theming and their architecture is spot on.
Definitely. If you are into retro like you are, Constantina,
love it.
This is the resort for you. Everything from the lobby to the bowling alley to the soaps they have in the shower.
So obviously, number one things we love, the theming.
Well, listen, you love the theming. I was just enjoying myself being there.
I gasped. They had VO5 and Zest bar soap in the shower with like the original retro design. And I really haven't seen that anywhere else where the theme trickles all the way through to bathroom toiletries.
So you pull up to this resort. Cabana Bay has a nice big sign there. It's got old 50s cars lined up on the outside, and it kind of gives you the vibe of an old Las Vegas resort. The neon sign that's pulling up with the palm trees, it kind of gives you that vibe. If you think about like 50s Las Vegas.
Well, it's technically supposed to be 50s, 60s Florida beach resort.
Oh.
But I get what you're saying because the actual sign is flashy. And it's funny because we didn't stay here at first. We stayed across the street at Sapphire Falls, which we'll review in another episode. And I was kind of bummed at the fact that Cabana Bay, being the lesser expensive one, had more of a ambiance going on right from the start.
Yeah, I walked into the lobby, and the second I walked into the lobby to check in, which you should do mobile check-in if you are going to check in because it's way faster, I knew at that moment you were going to love this resort.
You knew it was for me?
I just knew from the chandelier that was dangling in the middle of the lobby to the Starbucks to the left and the bowling alley on the second floor to the pool outside. I know. I said, you know what? This hotel's for Constantina.
This is dangling. She loves it.
Yeah.
I think what I love about it is that it also it's bigger than it seems from the exterior.
The whole resort itself is very big.
All right, let's talk about the rooms themselves.
So we stayed in a family suite. A family suite, you walk in, there's a small kitchenette. I wouldn't really consider that a kitchen. It's got a microwave, a sink, a fridge, very small.
I'm laughing because we did consider it a kitchen when we
can't cook anything.
This whole room is bigger than what we owned when we were first married.
True. And then to the right, when you walk in, there's a sofa, 2 chairs, a TV, and then you walk through, and then there's the bedroom with 2 beds and the bathroom.
Yes.
And there's a small closing door that you can close yourself off from the living room and the bedroom if you'd like.
If you want to just put on some. The only thing I got to say is with the room itself, I didn't find any, and maybe had to do a little more digging, but I didn't see any retro channels happening on the TV. That would have been the icing on the cake.
Well, they have a hotel channel, which is kind of telling you about the resort and stuff, but it wasn't any retro TV shows or
like I wanted
game shows. You wanted like Prices. Well, Price is Right's not from the 50s.
It's from the 70s, but you could have done like a 1960s kind of game show type style.
Bewitched on the channel or something.
Yeah, something like that.
They should have did that. That's
okay.
Right.
So that's my only complaint.
So the room overall, I thought was spacious, comfortable. One of the things we didn't like, which we put on here, was the pull-out couch is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the couch itself is more for the aesthetic and not so much for the comfort. I think that you can only get so much with a 50s style sofa.
Yeah.
I mean, the legs are tiny, and you just know looking at it, it's not going to be very comfortable. That being said, I think we finagled it towards the middle of the stay, whereas if you add a little extra you call down for a little extra bedding, which, by the way, that's something we got to talk about because I didn't actually have to call down. I texted down.
Yeah, great addition to the non-talking to people rule that I have. So the rooms, I give the rooms an 8 out of 10. There was a couple reviews online about the rooms being loud and being able to hear other people. Here's a quick fix to that. Buy a fan. We buy a fan and sleep with it at night, and you can't hear anything. It's great.
Travel with a fan. Actually, before even we hung up in the room during the day, had some lunch in the room, and I didn't really notice anything that considerably loud. I didn't notice it, especially at night because we did have a fan. But yeah, I agree. I think that is something that I didn't realize people don't normally travel with.
You know what, though? There was a point on our last day when we were checking out where we were checking out pretty early in the morning, and they were going with the leaf blowers outside, and they were going at it pretty hard. And it was early in the morning, but I appreciated it because I was like, you know what? It's getting me up.
Not only that, but it's cleaning the area, right?
Yeah, sometimes when in those hotels in Florida, when you shut all the shades, it's pitch black. You never know when it's daytime.
That can get dangerous.
So he was leaf blowing, and I was like, you know what? Thanks, buddy, because now it's like my alarm clock. I got up, and I was like, I'm heading to the pool.
Or you get the opportunity to get into the park and actually ride Hagrid's.
All right, I would have slept in another hour.
Exactly.
Thanks to him blowing the leaves, I didn't.
So room theming, I'm going to say 10 out of 10. I think the overall room itself is also... Oh, maybe I'm going to do it actually 8 out of 10 as well, because as much as I love the spaciousness of the room, I hate the deal with the bathroom situation and the shower situation kind of all over the place.
You don't like. I enjoy the separated toilet from the shower, but I get what you're saying because you always talk about how there's no sink. So you go to the bathroom and you can't wash your hands. You got to touch the doorknob.
This is too much information for YouTube right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So let's keep going.
It's kind of gross. I'm not going to lie.
All right. So overall rooms, I would say 8 out of 10. Other than that, I think the theming is awesome. It's always going to be 10 out of 10 for me.
Let's move on to food because that's my specialty. The Bayliner Diner. This is a ginormous cafeteria.
Yes.
And I do have to say, the food that they had was relative. I'm not even going to say about price because I don't want them to raise it. But wink, wink, good pricing. The food looked tremendous, and the portions looked really big. We saw somebody getting a spaghetti and meatballs, and I don't know if they must have known them. Because they were giving some spaghetti and meatballs, I'll tell you.
I'm all about the portion size. I find that value goes hand in hand with portion. I don't care if the food is just mediocre, but they give you a lot of it, I'm happy.
For sure.
Like, I hate great food that's just like 2 bites. To me, I get really bummed out about that.
Portion size is everything. I want to be full. I don't mind paying a little bit extra if I'm full, but if I'm still hungry when I'm done, I don't like that.
That's a problem.
Also, they have the Galaxy. I almost put the emphasis on the wrong syllable there.
Keep going.
Galaxy Bowl Restaurant, which looked pretty cool. We didn't eat there, but we did go into the bowling alley to kind of see what was going on there. You do have to have a reservation ahead of time to reserve your lane, but there was families in there, and they looked like they were having the time of their lives.
That entire whole section of the resort just seemed so incredible and fun and just such an awesome bonus to have right in your hotel.
Yeah, so if you want to get pizza or spaghetti or salads or even like something quick like a sandwich to bring back to your room, the diner that they have there is a great place to do it.
Or if you want to have an experience, go to the bowling alley.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a really fun place.
And the Starbucks was right there as well.
That's also true.
Which everybody wants Starbucks in the morning.
That's true. Good point. All right. So now let's talk about, with the room, I did say something earlier about riding Hagrid's, but that's something that is important for folks to know is that being able to stay at one of these resorts in Universal does give you some benefits, which would be early park admission.
Yeah, and Cabana Bay has a private entrance to Volcano Bay.
Another huge bonus.
Wow, it was huge. And if you're staying on one side of the resort, it is a little bit of a hike to get into that entrance. So what we did was we just drove our car over. We happened to be renting a car. Drove our car over.
I don't know if you're supposed to do that, by the way.
Well, I'm doing it, and I'm sharing it with you.
All right, great.
I drove my car right over, and I parked in a spot that was closer to the Volcano Bay entrance, and we just walked right in. It's so much easier to do it that way. I almost want to book a room at Cabana Bay just when I go to Volcano Bay.
Just to do that?
Just to do that.
And that was a great feeling, being able to walk right in. No busing. You just go to your water park for the day or a few hours, however you want to do.
Yeah, like I never want to bus anyway, but I certainly don't want to bus in a wet bathing suit.
Yeah, I agree. 100% on that.
So one of the best things about Cabana Bay was the entrance of privacy to Volcano Bay.
And again, adding to the benefit of staying there, and you can really make this trip something special, I think.
Yeah, for sure. A couple things I didn't like about this.
Okay.
Number one, the sofa bed was very uncomfortable. Probably one of the most uncomfortable sofa beds we've ever had.
Being a little dramatic.
No, it was true.
Okay.
We've stayed at a lot of sofa beds. There's 5 of us. So every time we get a room, it's got a sofa bed. This was the worst.
Okay.
The other thing was the boats to get to Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios is at the hotel across the street, Sapphire Falls. It's across the street. but you can't cross the street.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
You got to take a bridge that takes you 4 miles out of the way to get there.
To be fair, we don't know how many actual miles it takes, but it does feel like probably 4 or 5 or 10 if you walk slow like I do.
Picture this. You're going to the house across the street from yours. You can see the house across the street.
See it. You can basically smell whatever the
You can see him in the window cooking your lunch. You know, you're going over there for lunch. You can see your neighbor cooking the lunch.
Yes.
You got to walk around the block, down the street, take a path, over a bridge, turn around, do some cartwheels, and then you get to the house.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of a walk.
Why don't they just have the bridge do this?
There's going to be a reason that we don't know, and I'm thankful there is a walkway. Like, it could be worse.
True.
Okay. But I get it. It's just like a tease when it's literally right there, but you can't get there quick enough. And it is kind of tiring. I mean, walking around Universal, even though it's not necessarily a huge park, getting there is a hike no matter how you're traveling. And if you could just limit the amount of steps that you're doing, it's going to make for a much more pleasant afternoon.
Yeah, and I do suggest, though, if you are staying at a Universal resort, the Universal resorts that do have boat access, huge plus.
Huge plus.
So as much of a walk it is, you know what? Maybe next time I'm just going to cross the street.
Okay, another con I see on your list here is the parking fee, which it doesn't surprise me. More and more resorts are now having a fee to park. Things are pricey, I get. So I'm not necessarily too upset about this. It's not a huge fee, but it is a bummer whenever you have to pay for something extra.
Yeah, and the fees do vary. So we stayed at Lowe's Sapphire Falls across the street and Cabana Bay, and the fees at Lowe's were more expensive than the ones at Cabana Bay.
Okay, and then my next one, the chili pool.
Yes, we are from New England, and I don't have to have a really hot pool to go swimming in, but I went into this Cabana Bay pool, and what tricked me was there was a lot of kids having fun in the pool.
There were a lot of kids and adults, I think, going swimming and kind of making it seem a little bit better than it actually was.
Come to find out, they were from Antarctica.
Yeah, they had a thicker skin than we're used to.
And I went in that pool and I dipped my toe in, and it was very chilly.
For sure, a few days down south does thin your blood, even to folks like us who live primarily in the New England area. I think that is the only part that kind of was a bummer because the pool itself, the theming is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I love that there's additional pool, so there's not just one pool that you can swim at.
Well, there's 2 pools. There's a lazy river. There's a couple jacuzzis.
It's a great pool, great atmosphere. All in all, awesome theming, both day and night. But I just wish they could just raise that temperature just a little bit. Maybe they will. Who knows?
So if you are going down there in January, February, March, in the winter up north, just be prepared for the pool to be a little bit chilly. But overall, I'd say, you know what? When we review these resorts or restaurants, we always say you can't give a 7. If it's a 1 through 10, you can't give a 7 because that's the easy way out. And I very rarely, it's hard for me to give an 8 or a 9.
It is. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't want to give anybody credit.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, I'm a tough critic.
You want them to work for it.
That being said, I'm going to give this resort a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Because I take into consideration the location, really close to Volcano Bay. It's got the boats, which you got to walk a little bit to the boats across the way, but you get the boat access to Universal Islands of Adventure and Studios and City Walk. I thought the dining was great. The bowling was phenomenal. The pool was good. The room was comfy.
The value is there, too.
And it's not expensive.
Yeah. I don't know if we should say that.
It's expensive, but not as expensive as other ones.
Yeah, let's not raise the price here on Cabana Bay, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I've always heard of Cabana Bay, and I've seen it. We've driven by, and it's been a place where I think I've wanted to stay just based on knowing the fact that retro theme was going on, but I didn't know how much I would actually really love it. One of my favorite one of my favorite places to be in Walt Disney World actually is the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. I talk about that a lot on our podcast. Just overall theme. I go there for the theme, not even for the food. Felt the same exact way about Cabana Bay.
Yeah, I agree. So I really, really enjoyed this resort. Definitely would suggest it to folks. I'm definitely going to stay there again if I get the opportunity. Is it weird if I
do 10 out of 10?
Yeah, you can't be perfect.
Oh.
If the sofa bed was comfortable, 10 out of 10.
If the sofa bed was comfortable and if they had a retro channel happening, which I don't think they do.
And the pool was heated.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And if I am, I'm going back because I need to have that on the replay all day while I get ready for my day at Universal.
So there you go. Let us know if you've ever stayed at Cabana Bay Resort, what you give it, what you rate it out of 10. I want to know about that. And give us a thumbs up. hit the subscribe button. Check out our podcast. All the links to that. I'll even link the fan link that we use if you want to take that fan with you, so you don't complain about the noise at Cabana Bay in the comments below.
Like a fan?
Yeah, we'll just link to Amazon.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.